This is true. This is true. We'll turn the heater off way before then. All right, quickening our divine potential, empowering our positive thinking. We're covering 2 areas today. So I got the right one up there. It's pretty good, huh? So today we're going to take a look at the Q in our Minding our P's and Q's theme. And our Q stands for the quickening the divine potential within. And then a little bit later we'll take a look at powering our positive thinking, because I think the 2 go together. I think we have to have the centeredness of knowing who we are and then what's going to take us out there and accomplish what we want to do. But for now, to prepare us for our quickening of our divine potential, we're going to do a mindfulness exercise. So if this is your first Sunday here this month, each week we've done a short internal process that we've called mindfulness, just to get us set for the talk. And so today, what I'd like you to do is close your eyes and repeat this affirmation. I open my mind to know who I really am. I open my mind to know who I really am. Keep repeating this line to yourself, somewhat like Dorothy did in The Wizard of Oz when she tapped her heels together and said, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, but without the tapping. We're just going to think it over and over again. I open my mind to know who I really am. Open my mind to know who I really am. Continue thinking these words and breathe them in. Now let go of consciously thinking the words, but let the remnants of the thought linger in your awareness. Okay, good. Now gently bring yourself back to this moment and open your eyes. That was the first half of our mindfulness exercise. We'll work on the rest of it a little bit later. But now that your mind is open to it, there's 2 elements to this statement that I want us to explore this morning. And the first is who you really are. And the second one is knowing that, knowing who you really are. So, who you really are. Who are you really? What I'm about to say here will come as no great surprise to anyone who's been around here for about 5 minutes, okay? But even if you've heard this before, and regardless of the level that you embody what I'm about to say already, whether a lot or just a little, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to allow these concepts to quicken something inside of you. Quicken them in such a way that you walk out of these doors this morning permanently uplifted a notch or 2, and it causes you to show up into the world just a little more spiritually grounded and a little more empowered. So, how's that for a lofty goal? Mm-hmm. But then again, I love lofty goals. I actually just love the word lofty. Doesn't that sound just wonderful? I love the word. I love words. Words are fun. So here is one sentence from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, that beautifully encapsulates the answer to the question, who are you really? Holmes says, Spirit put the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. Isn't that a great concept? Mm-hmm. Spirit, God, infinite creator, eternal intelligence, perfect love. Whatever word or phrase you want to use, individualized itself as you. We're probably familiar with the biblical verse, you are made in the image and likeness of God. We've all heard that, haven't we? And it could be said in another way. God formed itself as your image and likeness. Take a deep breath. Breathe it in. Deeper than ever before. So if God formed itself into the package known as you, then every nook and cranny of you, every aspect of you, every dimension of you, everything of and about you is divine. Can you believe that? That every part of you is divine? And the foundational essence of who you really and what you really are is eternal intelligence and perfect love. I once went to a baby's christening that was performed by, let's just say, a non-religious scientist, person. And this minister talked on and on about how this baby was a sinner and needed to be absolved from her sins, and that Jesus was the only way. And it was really, really hard for me to listen to that, because I don't know about you, but I often go to other services and I'll hear these things and I have to, just say, no, I know that is not the truth. My truth is this. And I just keep saying that to myself. And, it was just a difficult thing. I had to keep telling myself, that is not true. That little innocent, beautiful baby has no sin. And many of us grew up with that concept, though, didn't we? That we were born with original sin and we had to somehow make it right. But, even if we didn't have it in our face, it's in the race consciousness, which is really a phrase that Ernest Holmes says means our collective beliefs as of the human race. The human race as a collective race consciousness puts the beliefs, since there's one mind, a lot of things just come into our minds and we just accept it as being what it is. And so it's like, okay, we're starting kind of behind the line here. But what about this concept? And this is the one I've always subscribed to, as Polly would say, that we're not born original sinners, but we are born original blessings. Doesn't that feel much better? Mm-hmm. That's why I had to sing the song, I'm a blessing to the world. We're original, but we're born whole, complete, and perfect. And we have the unconditional acceptance and love of God as our birthright. How does that sound? Sound much better? That feels really good, doesn't it? Can you accept that you are not a sinner, but a blessing? A blessing to this world. It's true that we all make mistakes, and some of them are, a little gigantic, and yes, some have been mistakes that have been made to your detriment, but every one of the mistakes we have been made out of ignorance. We're ignorant of the truth of ourselves, of God, and of one another. We're ignorant of the truth that we are made in the image and likeness of the divine Almighty, and we are endowed with power of creation through our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs. We are ignorant of our connection to one another and the earth and all of life. We're ignorant, but that can be fixed. Ignorance is just a temporary situation. So the second thing you must really do is to know who you really are. Ernest Holmes, in his out-of-print book, The Philosophy of Jesus for the World Today, and I have that book. It's really a kick. We must come to believe, and I'll edit that to know. We must come to know that the Father does dwell within us, and that this creative spirit, which is back of all things, also flows through us. God has need of us, or we would not have been put here. The divine wishes to express through us, or we would have no existence. Let us see what would happen to us if we should include ourselves in God's creation. Right at the start, we would learn to have a little better opinion of ourselves. How then can we begin to have a little better opinion of ourselves? Well, what do we teach here? Scientific mind treatment, prayer, affirmative prayer. Prayer is always a good place to begin. And here's a prayer that I received from another minister, because I subscribed to this list just this last week, and I realize it's not an affirmative prayer, such as we teach, but it relays the potential, or the point so sweetly, and I didn't really change it much at all, because it just was so perfect. So, here's the prayer. Dear God, please untie the knots, that's spelled N-O-T-S, that are invading my mind, my heart, and my life. Please remove the have-nots, the can-nots, and the do-nots that invade my mind. Please erase the will-nots, the may-nots, and the might-nots that invade my heart. Please release me from the could-nots, the would-nots, and the should-nots that invade my life. Most of all, dear God, I ask that you remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all of the am-nots, and I have allowed to hold me back. Please erase from my mind the thought that I am not good enough. Please remove from my heart the feeling that I am not lovable enough. Please untie from my life everything that I clutch that supports the belief that I am not enough. Today, dear God, I come to you humbly and reverently asking that you untie, eliminate, and erase all of the knots that have invaded every aspect of my life. For your mercy and your grace, I am so grateful. Let these words take on the presence of the Holy Spirit and become living conditions in my life. Amen.
Where's that from?
It was another minister that shared this on our list. I can copy it and send it to you.
Yeah, email it.
I will email it to all of you. I will do that. And when you have all of those knots removed, what do we have left? Well, in the words of the poet Walt Whitman, in the faces of men and women, I see God. I see God. Do you remember the mission I gave you at the beginning of the talk? It's to allow these concepts to quicken something inside of you so much that when you walk out of these doors this morning, permanently uplifted a notch or two, that uplifting causes you to show up in the world in a more spiritually grounded and empowered way. That's our charge this morning. And to keep you uplifted throughout the week, I want to switch now and introduce a little something I call the power of positive thinking. I know I'm not the first, but because we know that thoughts are things, and we think, and what we think about is attracted into our lives. So here's a little story. There was an ingenious clerk at a hotel who invited the guests to participate in promotional gimmicks now and then. One giveaway was an expensive leather briefcase, which could be won by dropping your business card inside. As one man was placing his card inside, he remarked to the clerk, "I don't know why I'm bothering to do this. I won't win." "What makes you say a thing like that?" the clerk asked. The man handed the clerk his card. It read, "Psychic reader." Psychic reader or not, with thinking like that, winning the briefcase was pretty unlikely, wasn't it? As students of New Thought, we know that of the power that is contained in our thoughts. David Friedman, in his booklet entitled The Thought Exchange, puts forth an interesting model called the Circle of Experience. And I want to explore it for a few moments this morning. And I actually have this. It isn't anything we don't already know, but thinking about it and being with it has really helped me to see something so clearly that I've never seen before or never looked at like I look at it now. So I want to share it with you this morning. There are 4 elements to it, one leading to the other in a circular pattern. And it's thoughts, feelings, beliefs, manifestation, experience. Ernest Holmes often used to preach with a flip chart or a blackboard, but I have PowerPoint. So there we go. We have thoughts, feelings, beliefs, manifestation, experience. Okay.
Excuse me, these lights dim a smidge?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see that. Actually, one of them will do that in here, so you can see that.
Total benefit of that. Looks good.
There we go.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Yay. Okay.
No, that's perfect.
You can see it now? Okay. I can feel the heat from these candles here.
No,
Okay.
we're good.
Okay, good. Good, good. Okay, so where in that circle do we have the power to make change? To make a change? Where in that circle? Is it at the level of manifestation or experience? That's where we often try to change things, isn't it? In the history of filmmaking, motion pictures came to the big cities first, and then they finally arrived in a remote mining camp in the Rockies. The picture was announced and the tent was put up. The residents had never seen a movie. They'd never been to a movie before. This was a little mining town in a tent. The tent was packed with cowboys and miners, and at a given moment during the show, a blood-curdling melodrama, the villain began to choke the heroine. Just imagine back when the pictures were first coming out. The cowboy in the front row pulled out a gun and fired 6 shots into the villain. Everyone laughed because in those days, a gunshot didn't mean much. There were only a few bullet holes in the screen, and of course, the picture went on as scheduled. Why do we laugh at that cowboy? Why do we laugh at him for shooting the villain at the screen? What should he have done? Instead of firing at the screen, he should have turned around and fired at the projector, right? That would have stopped the picture. But what is it we do all the time in our lives? We try to correct the situation, to fix the experience, to adjust the manifestation, and it really can't be done at that level, can it? I'm not suggesting that you quit showing up in the world and doing your part, but firing at the screen will get you nowhere. Okay, so let's back up. Can you change your beliefs? Can you change your beliefs? Initially, we might say yes, but let's look at that. First of all, what is a belief? Here's a succinct definition. Something you hold true and don't question. In your mind, it's a what is. That's what your belief is. So let's say someone believes that love hurts, or that it's a dog-eat-dog world, or they believe that they're not worthy enough or good enough to deserve good in life. To make this more personal and to really test this theory, think about a belief that you have that doesn't serve you very well. Just think about a belief you may have that does not serve you very well. You have it? Okay. Now here's my best ministerial counsel to you. Well, just stop believing it. Just stop holding it to be true without question. Get over it. Done. Right? We can all go home. Right? We're all done. You won't believe it anymore, right? Right? You're not going to believe it? No, wrong.
Steady habit. It's a habit.
Yeah, it's a belief. As much as we might like to think that we can change our beliefs, we really can't. So, here's the key. We have to go back of them. Quote, unquote, back of them. And that's an Ernest Holmes quote. We have to go back of them. Let's back up to our feelings. We talk a lot about the power of our feelings in creation. The movie The Secret, which I think we've all seen, emphasizes the power of our feelings. Ernest Holmes tells us that it's the feelings behind the words that are important. But we have a little bit of the chicken and egg thing going on here, don't we? Let's focus just on the feelings for a moment. Feelings such as glad, sad, angry, loving, agitated, peaceful, secure, scared. Just think when you've been angry and someone said to you, well, just don't be angry. Does that change how you feel? You betcha. Now you're probably even more angry. I've had someone tell me, oh, just stop being angry. Now I'm even more angry. Or you felt sad and someone said, you have no reason to feel sad. Stop feeling that way and just be happy. What's happened to you? Well, you're probably now feeling sad and angry combined, right? Have you ever been able to choose the way you feel about something by trying to address the feeling directly? Probably not. So let's take a final step back to your thoughts. And the big question of the morning is, do you have the ability to choose a thought? Well, right now, can you? Do you have the ability to think life is good? Let's try it. Life is good. Think life is good. Were you able to do it? Yeah? Okay. How about life stinks? Try that. Life stinks. You're not going to try that. Okay, you don't have to, you don't want to. You were just able to do that. If you chose to think that, you could do that if you wanted to. You had an equal amount of power to have either thought. You could think life is good or life stinks. You have equal amount of power to think either one of those thoughts. So you can choose your thoughts. Unlike feelings, beliefs and manifestations, thoughts are something that can be chosen. Now here's the progression in the model of experience in action. When you thought life stinks, when you thought that, did you feel empowered and uplifted and at peace and happy? Of course not. You probably felt a little down, a little lousy. And if you have ongoing thoughts that life stinks and continue to feel lousy, you will begin to have negative beliefs about life, things that you hold true and don't question. And then guess what? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mm-hmm. Life stinks. Yeah. So I love the story of the ancient traveler walking to the gate of a new city and meeting an old man sitting at the gate. And he said to the old man, what is this city like? Is it a good place to live? Are the people kind? The old man at the gate asked, well, what was the city like that you just left? Was it a nice place to live? Were the people there kind? The traveler replied with shaking his head, oh, the place I just left was horrible. The people were cheats, the government was crooked, and it was just awful. And the old man at the gate said, well, my friend, I'm afraid you are going to find the same thing here. I suggest you keep on going to the next city. The traveler thanked him and continued on his journey. Soon another traveler came along and asked the old man at the gate the same questions. Is this a good city? Are the people kind? The old man replied in the same manner. "What was the city like that you just came from?" The traveler said, "Oh my, it was a wonderful city, filled with generous, fair, and kind people. It was a great place to live." To which the old man replied, "Well, sir, come on in. You'll find this city to be equally wonderful. Wherever you go, there you are." Right? How about when you thought that life is good? What happened there? Now here's the rub. You may have felt great when you thought that, or the thought life is good may have been followed by an immediate reactive thought, "No, it isn't. You're a liar. Life really does stink." I don't know. I have no idea what's going on in your heads there. And herein lies our challenge. Sometimes with trying to have a positive attitude or using our affirmations. We say a positive statement, but underneath it, we have thoughts to the contrary. This is where people get frustrated with affirmations. They're going, "Okay, I have abundance, but my mind is telling me that my checkbook is at zero, but I'm abundant, but my bank balance." And they're having this little war going on in their heads, right? So if you want to know what you're really, really thinking, you have to look at your life. You have to look at what you're seeing out there, because that's all a reflection of what's in here, right? Remember our model. Your thoughts produce your feelings, which combine to form your beliefs, which create the manifestations which we call our lives. In a thought exchange workshop run by David Freeman, one of the participants was affirming that abundance was available to her and she was wealthy and prosperous. Freeman was sitting next to her, and in response to her affirmation, he reached into his wallet and he pulled out a dollar bill and he said, "Here, this is yours." She looked at him suspiciously and then tried to hand it back. Friedman said, "No, it's yours." She was perplexed. "What am I supposed to do with this?" she asked, and tried to throw it in the offering basket. "No, it's yours." Then she tried to give it to the person next to her, who refused to take it, saying, "No, it's yours." She was affirming that she was abundant, but she couldn't make herself available to receive even $1. Is that amazing? When she explored what she must be thinking in order to exhibit this behavior, she came across all kinds of thoughts like, "I'm not allowed to have anything I didn't earn. I can't take money from someone without retaliation, and I can't trust money that comes from nowhere." This is a very interesting phenomenon, which we do all the time. We affirm one thing, but really, really, we think something else. If you want to know what you're thinking, look at your life. This isn't said in a harsh, judgmental way, but so you can make the change at the place where you can make it and where it will make all the difference in the world. We have to be awake and available enough to use our experiences to take back our thinking. We have to take back our thinking. Where are you not allowing yourself to have what you are affirming that is yours? Where are you not allowing yourself to have what you are affirming is yours? In Love and Law, Dr. Ernest Holmes writes, "Where our consciousness is permeated with 51% of right thinking, we are healed." You don't have to be 100%. 51. Isn't that a simple majority? Yeah. None of this, 66% thing going on here. 51% of right thinking, we are healed. Where there is more light brought into a room than there is darkness, the darkness will disappear. It will cease to exist. That is our process. And what might these new thoughts center around? What should they center around? God. Spiritual truths. Focus on, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things will be given unto you." Or as the Apostle Paul wrote in Philippians, "Finally, my brethren, whatever is true, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report, if there is any virtue and if there is any praise, think about these things." Eric Butterworth once wrote, "Positive thinking is not just sitting around holding thoughts, filling the mind with a lot of pleasing platitudes, and then going obliviously about the business of living. It is aligning yourself with that which is, rather than that which appears to be. It is letting God mind think through you, turning from the reflex action or thought, dealing purely with the flow of infinite mind through you, Through the state of mind, you release or inhibit the flow of dynamic life, substance, or intelligence of God. Through your state of mind, you release or inhibit the flow of dynamic life, substance, or intelligence of God. When we open our minds to know who we really are, we focus our thoughts on God or Spirit and on truth, and we create the space for miracles to occur in our lives and in our world by quickening all of our own divine potential and empowering our positive thinking. And so it is.